is Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Sandy Studi. Now we're going to be discussing her amazing book, Strike a Match. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, man, it's a whole host of other places. But if you want to gather everything that she has in store, and trust me when I tell you, man, Sandy's got a lot in store, okay? Check out her personal website, first and foremost. That's life101withsandy.com. Once you get there, man, you're going to find more information on her, on this book, hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing pages, and that's great. But understand that she also is a life coach, and there are courses currently in development that will be offered through her site very shortly, okay? One of the courses are going to be for marriage, for married couples, and the other one is for individuals. So if you're like me, you think, man, things are a little out of control sometimes. I could use some assistance. I need to speak to a life coach who specializes in this. Yeah, don't worry. Sandy's got you covered. Once again, that's life101withsandy.com. And I quickly want to take this opportunity and point out the fact that Sandy was brought to us by one of the best publishing firms in the business, Citi of Books. So for my writers out there who have gone through their process, if you need some assistance moving that masterpiece you developed, you know what you got to do. Head on over to citiofbooks.com and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And people, listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Sandy here on the line. Man, imagine a devotional that doesn't just speak to you, but it ignites you, okay? Pun intended with Strike a Match, because I'm telling you, this is more than a book. Man, it is a 21-day invitation to encounter God in a way that transforms whispers of truth into roaring flames of faith. Trust me when I tell you, maybe you are all like me and you can relate. Man, sometimes you're speaking to the big man upstairs, right? You're reaching out and you just can't quite hear his voice. You get it. Sometimes, man, we want something as loud as a whistle, something as loud as a horn of him speaking to us, and it doesn't always happen that way. Today, we're going to sit down with an impressive author who really is going to uncover the heart behind this beautiful project, because it sparks so much. Just in doing the research and preparation for today's interview, I am motivated, okay? I am just looking forward to this discussion, and I know you all are as well. And trust me when I tell you, we're only going to capture the essence here today. By the time we've concluded, you're going to run and purchase your copies, because you're going to understand how this book is going to be able to give you life-changing revelations. It is going to set you on a path where you are going to be able to tackle some things in your life that you maybe thought were insurmountable. Now, there's a process to it, but she's got the answers to help you along the way. Sit back and strap in. Sandy, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Listen, Sandy, it is a pleasure to have you here. I recognize the benefit that this book offers, and I know how much our listening audience is going to gravitate towards this, man. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you for writing it. Thank you again for being here with us to discuss it. Before we go into this amazing book, start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself and your background so we know more about you.
Okay, great. I am a 33-year operating room nurse, surgical first assistant. So that is my main job. But along the way, I've done a lot of other things. I've been a youth mentor, a short-term missions trip leader to El Salvador. and also a life coach, which is hopefully my transition career as I'm getting a little bit older in life. I live in a small town in Pennsylvania, close to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is actually just steeped with history. And that's one of the places where I go to just sit and reflect and let God talk to me.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about who I am.
My next place that I want to go to, it's falling under the umbrella of inspiration. But follow me here, because you said something on the pre-screening call prior to the interview that I thought was gripping. And at least for me, it was such a profound statement. You were talking about really how this book or how this process came to fruition. Now, what's interesting, not just with regards to you, but in general, you have the title life coach. So you're assisting others through so much. And what was interesting and what was a revelation to me is talking about how you were going through your own things. And it was a connection that I made where it's, hey, man, listen, as a life coach, you're expected to have all of the answers when others come to you with their issues. Well, what about your issues, right? You're not impenetrable, right? You're not flawless in this. So talk to us, about the inspiration for this book, but your own journey dealing with your own adversity and obstacles and how you were able to persevere through it.
In 2018, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, and a year later he passed away. And 6 months after he passed away, COVID hit.
Yeah.
So what I found myself in a season where all the hats that I wore, whether it was mother, wife, missions trip leader, youth mentor, whatever hat I had on that day, even my nursing career, everything had changed. And I was in the house by myself, not really, okay, who am I now?
Yeah.
What am I doing? Where is my life going? And in the quiet can be so noisy in your head, if you understand what I'm saying. It is daunting. And I found myself going to all these different questions. What did I do wrong that I'm in this position? How did my life turn this way? What am I supposed to do? Who am I now? And so what I did in those times, I went and I got out all my old journals, everything I had written for probably 20 years. And I said, I need to know the truth of who I am. So I just started jotting down things. And I needed affirmation. And that's one aspect of the book where each week there's an affirmation that goes with the theme. And I needed to dive back into my Bible. Okay, God, I felt like I was doing what you wanted me to do, and now it's all gone. I'm mad at you, and it doesn't seem fair,
Yeah.
quite frankly. So what do you want me to do now? And that's how the book came about. I had to find me, and I had to find the truths that I needed to continue to live a life that impacted others.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, Sandy, I'm going to stick here for a second because, listen, girl, I have a list of questions. I don't even want to look at them, okay? Because this conversation, you're just making things come up. And I'm just like, I got to ask this. So you mentioned a moment ago about being angry with God. Man, I love that. I want to explore that a little bit more because I think oftentimes we avoid talking about certain things. It's almost taboo to say that, man, I get upset with God from time to time. Sometimes I want to yell. I want to scream at him. I don't understand. And I think it correlates with an age-old question that we hear constantly about God being this omnipresent force, this all-loving parent almost. But then you see such atrocities and such things happening in the world where you look at it and you're like, I don't understand. How is this possible? And why would that be able to happen? My question is not so much with regards to that, but the benefit. And I think the way I look at it, because listen, I've had my moments where I'm having a screaming match with him, man. I think it's healthy to have that type of communication. and to open the door in being that way, to having the communication, right? Like you can be angry and I think that's okay. It's like any loving partner or relationship you're in. It's about getting to that effective communication, right? And working through that process. But talk to us a little bit more, not only from your particular perspective, but also, is it okay to be upset with God from time to time?
I think when we're upset with God is because we can't see what he sees or sees from his perspective.
Yeah.
And we're not privy to that just on earth. So in me not understanding where my life path, his path was taking me, and it didn't look the way I wanted it to look. That's why I was angry with God. But God's plan is far greater than I can understand. And in the process of writing this book and finding me, he made me see things from a different perspective. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. So would I give back all the tragedy to not have grown the way I've grown? And the answer is no. He gave me a new perspective.
Sandy, I love that response because the maturity that it shows and the strength that it shows, isn't that what faith is, right? You might not necessarily understand the reasoning for it in the moment, but continuing to have that faith and understanding that is all part of a larger scheme, a larger plan that is set in motion. I think, again, it's much easier said than done. But man, that offers so much wisdom. People, again, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's Life 101 with Sandy.com. The book is called Strike a Match. You need to head on over there, pick up your copies. Remember, check back in frequently. She has courses currently in development that you're going to want to take advantage of as well. The gifts keep on coming. You got to check out that website and do it often so you make sure you don't miss out on anything. Sandy, my follow-up question that I want to go to now. Your book, of course, it operates around these 21 truths that you've incorporated into the book to be separated over different days and times. Well, which one of those 21 truths was the most challenging for you to internalize or live out, and why?
That's such a good question. And I think that's where I started the book. And it is day one, week one. It is good enough. Because so many times people, myself, respond or react negatively just because something triggers the feeling that they're not good enough. And so that's where I started. And in my processing of me, I had to ask myself a question. If God believes I'm good enough, then why do I believe I'm not? And if God believes I'm good enough, I have everything I need. And so that's where I start the book. But even in this process of putting the book out there or having an interview, that thought creeps back into my mind. You're not good enough to do this. And I have to remind myself of this truth every day, that if God said I am. So that's day one.
Isn't it like so often getting started is the hardest part? Building that courage, taking that leap of faith, because once the momentum goes, right? I remember it's like me with the gym, Sandy. All right, prior to me having children, man, I was going all the time. I was up to 5-6 days a week consistently. It was like, man, I couldn't stop. And then I got kids. I got out of my routine and getting back up and started again. Oh my goodness, was it a struggle? It was difficult to find that consistency to go. And this is going to play into my next question, because in the world we currently live in, man, there are a lot of distractions. There are a lot of things that ultimately get thrown on our path and potentially impede our journey. So Operating from that perspective, in this world full of distractions, what advice would you give someone that is struggling to cultivate a consistent devotional time? Like they're picking up what you're putting down and they love what you're saying, but they're like, man, between work, between kids, between this and that, I don't know if I have the time to do this consistently. What are some words of wisdom you can offer them?
I would say it's important to connect with God, but how you do it is going to be your own personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
Some days I work a 16-hour shift and I come home exhausted, and before I just lay my head down, I take 2 seconds, and I'm not exaggerating. God, thank you for today. I'll catch you tomorrow because I'm tired and I need rest. On the other hand, if I crawl into bed, and nighttime is my devotion time. A lot of people like to do it in the morning. So wherever you're best. But to get my mind to rest at night, I'll do a 5-minute read and talk to God and write some things down and just say, God, maybe I didn't do my best in this moment during the day. Forgive me for that. Or, you know what, God, my mind's racing and I just need you to give me some peace and help me see your love and your purpose for my life, not all the distractions. It's as simple as a little prayer to refocus. And I think that's why I put the affirmations in there, because it is like a 2-sentence thing that you go back to and say, I am enough. I'm significant, strong, confident, qualified, wise enough. And insert what you need for that day. It is crazy world. But if you don't settle your soul, to strengthen your soul, to face the next day, it is a snowball that you find yourself out of control. And that's when most people look for their life coach then, when things are out of control. And this is just a way to help you maintain that peace in your soul.
Yeah. Sandy, my final question here for you. We talked before about what was the most challenging out of these 21 truths for you. I'm curious to know, as you were working through them for yourself, and then the journey to creating this book, I'm curious to know, how has your own relationship with these specific 21 truths evolved through this process?
There's been time where I've been very frustrated in the process. The easy part for me, or even the fun part, was the creative part. Sitting down and saying, okay, where are you leading me today? Let me write that out. That was the fun part. Navigating the business part of it has been just unknown territory for me.
Yeah.
I've had to really say, God, this project belongs to you. And I'm confident enough in you and how you've worked through me that you're going to do with it what you want. Instead of me trying to push all the doors open, I've had to really sit back and say, God, I need you to open the doors you want open and close the doors that I'm not supposed to walk through, because I'm unknown territory. I'm in uncharted waters, and that's where I need to rely on you.
Sandy, as we close out, we have discussed so much information here today, but is there anything else that you'd really like to let our listening audience know before we let you go?
Yes. I was speaking with one of the readers, and she was telling me how it was impacting her life. And she said, every day, I felt like I just wanted a little bit more. And at first, I took that answer to say, oh my gosh, I didn't do good enough in writing the book because the reader wants more. But as I thought about it more, That's what the journal part of Strike a Match is for. God will give you the more. And you can sit and you can write down what he's personally speaking to your heart in those moments. And so that's what the book is about. It's about you getting a truth and then making it your own in those journal moments.
Love that. Sandy, thank you very much, not only for what you just stated, but also for the wonderful words of wisdom that you've offered here today. People, you've heard me say a number of times in the past, I'm a firm believer that God doesn't place anything on your path that you aren't strong enough to overcome. And now, again, easier said than done, and it may not feel like that in the moment. But it gets back to that message of faith, man, what she was just talking about. Like, it's okay sometimes to feel a little weary, right? So it's okay sometimes to have some questions. And that's why this book is so important. Not only is it filled with fantastic pieces of information, but understand that the book was tried and true because Sandy utilized this for herself prior to developing the book and putting it out. So this was something that worked, that she invested the time cultivating, and now is a gift for you to take advantage of. And in that same notion, man, because of that, this is much larger than a book. This is a movement. This isn't just a literary creation. The 21 truths found in this book are proven to sustain the power to reignite, to refocus, and remind us all that even the smallest spark of faith can illuminate the darkest places. And if you take nothing else from this interview, man, take that to the bank and run with it. And just try it out. Try it out for those 21 days and see how your life, how your mentality, how your journey is changed. Because God's going to come through, man. He's going to come through and he's going to show you some things. And I think oftentimes we get distracted. We lose faith and we give up too quickly. Because as I mentioned at the top, man, we look for a sign that is glaring. And he don't always speak that way. But sometimes if you stay, you meditate, you stay real quiet, you minimize those voices in your head, he'll come through loud and clear. I promise you that. I'm going to say it for you again, man. It's Amazon. It's Barnes & Noble. Remember the personal site because that's the most important one out of it all. Life101withsandy.com. Be on the lookout for her courses that are set to be released. I'm telling you, this is one that is going to help you change some things, and it starts with Strike a Match. Head on over there, pick up your copies, and let's get this ball moving, man. Let's set the world on fire here, okay? Sandy, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute honor. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you, Benji. I've enjoyed our time. God bless.